Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Teresa, this is Lost My Thread. Today I'm going to be sharing 5 fabrics from my fabric stash and talking about 5 free skirt sewing patterns to inspire you for the Sew Frugal challenge this year. I love this time of year. I have said it before, I will say it again. This is my favorite sewing challenge of the year. I always look forward to it and get excited when March is approaching. The first year that this challenge came out 3 years ago, it was Sam Frugalissima and Ruan of the Yorkshire Sew Girl. They came up with a challenge, an idea to inspire us to make a free dress pattern using fabric from our stash. I made a video back then as a bit of inspiration with dresses that I thought would be suitable for linen because I had some linen fabrics and I wanted to make a linen dress for this spring and summer. And then last year, the second year, they decided to expand it a bit wider so it wasn't just dresses. So the idea last year was expanded to any kind of garment, still had to be a free pattern, still had to be fabric from your stash. I made an inspo video about jumpsuits that I was looking to make and I made 3, I think, in the end. Maybe it was 2 in a dress, but I'll put a link to the inspo and also to the reveal. I also actually made a tutorial last year about how to make your own shirred bodice jumpsuit. So the idea was the bodice is shirred, you attach it to any elastic waist woven pants pattern, and I also found a free woven pants pattern to use for mine, and I did a full tutorial, link to that here and down on the description box. I'm going to put all the links down below as well because I know I'm giving tons of information and other places that you might want to look at for a bit of inspiration from myself and from others. The best thing for me about the Sew Frugal challenge and what I like so much about it is that Sam and Ruan reach out into the sewing community, the YouTube community, and they ask fellow YouTubers to make videos for inspiration. And everyone, I think, finds their own way of making the video. So some people focus on certain types of garments, some people focus on different people that you're sewing for, different body types. I think this year I wanted to do something that's more what I really want and need in my wardrobe, and so I decided this year to focus on skirts. So I pulled out 5 woven fabrics from my stash that I feel like would be really good for skirts, and I found 5 free skirt sewing patterns that I think would be appropriate, so I'm going to talk you through them both. Now I have picked 5 different fabrics that I feel like have a little bit of something different going for them, but I think they would all be really suitable for skirts. They all actually coincidentally came from Sew Me Sunshine. I didn't buy them all at the same time, but I just shop from them a lot, so I have a lot of their fabric in my stash. The first fabric I'll tell you about is this really lovely viscose crepe fabric. So this is a gorgeous polka dot fabric, white on black polka dots. Hopefully you can see that crepe texture on it. I like a viscose crepe because it has some nice body, nice bounce, but also that really great movement from the viscose. I feel like the black and white harsh contrast of color don't really suit my coloring very well to wear close to my face, but for a skirt, you don't have to worry about it. It's not so close to your face, and I feel like I have lots of me-made tops that I think would pair really well with this, and I think it would be a really fun, floaty, swooshy skirt. This fabric is a really gorgeous viscose linen noir fabric. I am a big fan of viscose linen. It's one of my favorites. It's one of my go-tos. It's definitely a bit more heavyweight than just a straight up viscose, even the viscose crepe, which is a little bit heavier than like a viscose challis. This has a bit of weight to it, but it also has that really wonderful drape and movement. It's in this gorgeous green tone. I've been really getting into my greens lately. I don't know what it is, but I've just been enjoying them. The color, if I don't feel like it's coming across, I will put up on the screen. It's sometimes hard to tell quite how it's coming across, but I love the texture that you get on the viscose linen noir. It's a really nice slubby texture to it. Very much you pick up on that linen content from there. Again, really great movement, really great drape. I feel like this would pair with so much that I've got in my wardrobe. Keeping on the linen train, this is a cotton linen blend. I have been super into this color recently. I've just been gravitating toward it. I feel like it looks definitely more like a linen and it feels quite linen-y, but it does definitely have that cottony consistency as well. The nice thing about a cotton linen blend is that it's not going to crease as much as a linen would do, but it's still going to be really easy to work with, really nice and lightweight and breathable. It doesn't have as much body and bounce to it, but it's not super stiff. So I would say I think this one will work really well. I've also got another cotton linen blend, this one with a gorgeous floral pattern on it. I just love the colors on this one. I feel like it is just so gorgeous. That blue is gorgeous. Now I will say This blue is the kind of color that I would never really be able to wear with my coloring, but again, in a skirt, it's all good because it's not right next to your face. So I would really love to have a skirt made up in this one, and I feel like it would just be so great for the summer and spring approaching. Finally, I have got a needle cord. It is very much in that same kind of mauvey shade that I've been getting really into. So this is a lovely soft cotton needle cord. It does have some stretch to it, so I don't necessarily need stretch in all of these patterns, but I feel like it can just make things a little bit more comfortable. This, because it's a needle cord, it's obviously a bit more heavyweight, it's a bit more structured, and I feel like it would just create a bit of a different skirt look. And it's nice to have some variety in my wardrobe. So I've got 5 quite different skirt patterns, and I'm going to go through them in the order in which I've known about them. So I'm going to talk about the ones that have been on my radar that I've known the most about at the beginning, and then move forward towards ones that I've just found out about. So the first one I'm going to talk about is the Peppermint Pocket Skirt. This is one that is free from Peppermint magazine, designed by Paper Theory, who also designed these 80 jumpsuit, which I've made and I love, so I feel confident making their patterns. The Peppermint Pocket Skirt was one that I think a lot of people made last year. It was quite a popular option. It is an elastic waist skirt you're intended to wear at your natural waist. There are some really big dramatic pockets that kind of poof out. They really stand out of the skirt, and they're meant to sit below your hip, so kind of more like your lower hip rather than high hip. I really think this is a lovely skirt. It's slightly A-lined. It seems like it would be relatively simple, but when you look at the design, it gets a little bit more interesting. So that pocket that stands out is actually sewn and integrated into the side panels at the front. And so you have these 2 sections of the pocket that get joined together and then inserted into that side panel. I feel like it would be a really interesting construction and a fun one to put together. It's slightly A-lined, so it's reasonably full at the bottom. It's meant to go down kind of like a midi or calf length. I feel like this one would be such a comfortable, relaxed skirt to wear. I have scrolled through the Instagram hashtag for it because there are tons of people who have made it, so you might as well make use of that resource. I feel like for myself, I prefer the versions when the fabric isn't as stiff. If it sticks out too much with that pocket, I feel like it's just a little bit over the top for my style. I prefer the ones where people use something that was a little bit more drapey, so you had a little bit of a flop to the front of that pocket. I feel like this one is going to be really versatile. I could easily wear it to work. I could wear it day to day, going for walks, going for a picnic, and I have a few fabrics that I think could work for it. Now, I would stay away from the viscose super drapey one. I would also stay away from the super stiff needle cord, but I do think any of my linens theoretically could work. I will say my cotton linens, these 2, are perhaps a little bit more structured than I would go for. I think they would totally work, but the one that I think I gravitate towards the most is the viscose linen noir. I think this might actually be a similar color to what was used in the pattern. That is not why I chose it. I really did choose it because of the body and the drape to it. So I feel like this would feel really lovely, and I feel like those pockets wouldn't necessarily stand out too much. I feel like they just have a nice shape to them, and I feel like that would be a fun option. So if I do go for that skirt, I think I'm probably going to go for it with this fabric. This one has a good size range. I will put up on the screen what I think are the most relevant measurements for the pattern. For this one, I think the hip is the most relevant because you have an elasticated waist. It doesn't need to fit quite as snugly there. I will mention as well that Andrew from Andrew Makes has done a full sew-along tutorial for this on her YouTube channel, which I'll link up here. I will link down in the description box. In case you are newer to sewing or you feel a little bit unsure about any of the steps, you can follow along with Andra and make the skirt up. The second one I'll tell you about is the Sabina Skirt by Ruan, aka the Little Pomegranate. You get this free skirt pattern by signing up to her newsletter. It is another elastic waist skirt pattern. This one has a narrower elastic channel up the top. There is actually some shaping though from the waist to the hip, which I appreciate. For myself, I don't want too much bulk necessarily around my waist, so I like that this one has a little bit of tapering out at the hip. This one has a slash pocket at the hip, which is a nice detail, which she says are very roomy. Always going to appreciate a roomy pocket. This one is another midi length skirt, but this one also has a lovely ruffle detail around the bottom. I feel like this one is just really delicate and beautiful, and I feel like it would work really well for any kind of drapey woven fabrics. So I definitely think this is a big contender for my viscose crepe fabric. I feel like that would be absolutely perfect for it. I do also think it would work well for my viscose linen noir. It would be a bit heavier, so just bear that in mind, especially with elastic waist. You don't want things to be pulling too much, and there'd be quite a lot of fabric on this one with the ruffle on the bottom. So I think out of these, my choice would be probably for the viscose crepe, but any kind of lightweight drapey fabric I think would be absolutely perfect. The third one I'll tell you about is the Veronika Skirt by Megan Nielsen Patterns. This is another one you get for free by signing up to their newsletter. What is great about this one is when you sign up for the newsletter, get sent the pattern, you actually get 3 different views. So you're getting 3 free skirts in one. They are all basic circle skirts, and there are lots of tutorials about how to draft a circle skirt, but I will say this one does all the hard work for you. So the view A, the first one, is drafted for woven fabrics. It has a thicker, a wider waistband at the top and some scalloped pockets, patch pockets going on the top. This has a invisible side zip, and it has a facing on the inside. So I will say it looks really nicely finished. To me, I feel like this view would suit more of like a heavier weight fabric. So I think it would be really good for the needle cord actually. I feel like that would have the nice structure to it. It would help those pockets to kind of hold their shape. But I also think that either of my cotton linen fabrics would work really well for it. I think they both be really beautiful for this one. I feel like view B is also for woven fabrics, but I feel like is more suited to like a lighter weight fabric. So view B has a narrower waistband at the top, still has that side zip, but no pockets on this one. But I feel like that would be really great for more of my viscose fabrics, my drapier fabrics. I feel like that would swoosh and move around really well for that one. View C, I'm not showing you fabrics for, but just to mention is drafted for jersey fabrics and actually has an elastic waist around the top. This one also doesn't have any pockets. But like I said, great to be able to get 3 views in one skirt, and this one goes just below the knee, so I feel like that's a nice length, but hopefully it shouldn't flip up too much because it's a full skirt. You want to be cautious with full skirts on a windy day, but being that little bit longer, I feel like I would feel more secure wearing this one. The fourth pattern I want to tell you about is the Ruby Skirt by Sew Over It. This is another one that you can get for free by signing up to the newsletter. This one, when it came out, I was really surprised this was a free pattern. I feel like this is something they could have definitely charged for and people would have happily bought this skirt pattern, probably myself included, I'm not gonna lie. This one is a really gorgeous design. So it has a flat front with elastic at the back of the waist, which I feel like you have that good balance of being comfortable, easy to get on and off, but still looking nice and kind of sleek and slick down the front. There's a button front to this one, but you don't need to make those buttons functional. You could just sew the buttons right onto the front of it because you have the elastic waist. You'd be able to get this one on and off quite easily. There are also some patch pockets on the front of this. Always gonna love a skirt with a pocket. I will say, I think this one would honestly work with any kind of woven fabric. They say they think it would suit best a lightweight woven fabric. Personally, I think it would suit pretty much anything. It's just going to give it a slightly different look. So I really would think it would work great for my needle cord fabric. I feel like it would give it more of like a denim or a jean skirt look, which I am a fan of. And I feel like the button placket would really stand out with the needle cord. So I think that's a good option. I do also think, honestly, either of my cotton linen blends would work really well. I could really see this blue one in particular. I don't know what it is. I feel like the shape of it definitely is a bit of an A-line shape as well. The button placket might kind of get lost on this fabric because it is quite busy, but I feel like that would just be such a great pairing. But even this more, it's just solid. I feel like you'd get to see more of the detail of the skirt. And I feel like both of these would have just a little bit of that nice structure and movement to it to make it really comfortable and just, I feel like a perfect spring weather skirt. I do think that the viscose linen noir would also work well, but obviously it would just have a little bit more movement to it. And I could definitely see a viscose crepe version just swooshing around. Again, you probably wouldn't get as much of the effect of the button placket, and you might lose the look of the patch pockets on the front, which isn't necessarily a bad thing if you don't want those to be super visible. But yeah, I think genuinely any woven fabric, pretty much, probably not, you're gonna throw some weird ones at me and I'll say, yeah, maybe not in leather, but like most woven fabrics, certainly medium to lightweight, I think would be absolutely perfect for this one. The fifth one I want to tell you about is one that I only found out at the beginning of this month because it's actually one that's being given out for free as part of the Sew Frugal Challenge. This is the Florence Skirt by Size Me Sewing. I have actually seen the skirt around because I've seen people having sewn it up, and it hasn't been free previously. This is a pattern that you normally have to pay for, but they have given a discount code, Frugal Florence. I'll put it up on the screen. Again, you can find it down below in the description box. You can download the pattern by just putting that code in at checkout, and then you will get it for free. This one is for a lightweight woven fabric, I would say. So this one does not have any elastic at the waist. There's a side zip and there are darts at the front and the back. So it is very fitted from the waist down to the hip. And then there's this really beautiful gather just below the hip, just to give it really nice full volume down beneath the main fitted portion. I feel like that is just going to be a really nice one to kind of hug your figure and then give you that kind of full floaty fullness. No pockets in this one, so just bear that one in mind, because I will say I looked to see, is there a sneaky pocket? There's no sneaky pocket. This is one that I have, again, I've scrolled the hashtag and I've seen so many wonderful versions. I've seen people making some really gorgeous two-piece sets with tops out of it, and it definitely gives a faux dress look. I think this one is more, like I said, for drapier fabrics. So I could definitely see it in this viscose linen noir, though it might be a little bit heavy, but my top pick for this one I think would probably have to be my viscose crepe fabric. That movement, that bounce to it, I feel like would be so fun with the full gather moving around at the bottom. And how nice that they were able to give us a discount code to be able to use for this challenge. I want to quickly run through the rules of this challenge in case you're not familiar with it. I will put them up on the screen. The first thing you need to do is to find a free sewing pattern. So it needs to be a garment pattern. It can be for anyone, any age, any gender, but it needs to be a garment. You need to then pick out some fabric from your stash. So no new fabric for this. You can use like upcycling old sheets or things that you have lying around, or you can get fabric that you've had lingering around in your fabric collection waiting to be made up into a garment. You need to then sew the garment up between the 1st of March and the 31st of March. Fortunately, I'm telling you about this now midway through March, so if you haven't started already, you are good to go. And then the main thing is that you need to reveal your garment on Instagram, so you need to post it on Instagram tagging Sam and Ruan and using the hashtag SewFrugal2023. I cannot wait to see what everybody makes for this year's Sew Frugal challenge. I'm really looking forward to catching up on all of the inspo videos as well. Sam has put together a playlist, which I will link down below if you want to see other videos of other sewing vloggers sharing their inspiration. I know that today Amelia of Sew Amelia is also putting out her inspo video. I always find Amelia so inspiring and I always really enjoy her videos, so I will definitely be checking that one out later on today and cannot wait to see which pattern she has found. But also I want to get that little sneaky peek into some of her fabric stash. If you enjoyed watching my video, please do give me a like. Please make sure you're subscribed to my channel if you want to see which of these I decide to make for the Sew Frugal challenge. You can obviously follow me over on Instagram as well. Check out the Sew Frugal hashtag on reveal day, 31st of March. Do not post any pictures before the 31st of March or they will not be counted. So make your makes, get your photos, and post them on 31st of March, and we can all enjoy a day of full-on Sew Frugal inspiration. I will see you guys soon. Bye!